Grumman's mighty Tomcat is probably the world's top interceptor and was conceived in the late 1960s as a replacement for the F-4 Phantom in the fleet defense role with long-range radar and associated Phoenix missiles. The massive fighter can be accelerated from 0 to 170 miles per hour in a mere 2.5 seconds during a 200-foot catapult launch. It then climbs away with its variable geometry wings in the extended position for maximum range and endurance. With its wings swept, the Tomcat can reach Mach 2.34, and for its bulk, the fighter is remarkably agile. But the thing that makes the Tomcat unique is its primary armament of 6 Phoenix air-to-air missiles. These are very fast and can be launched against targets more than 100 miles distant, homing with the aid of their own active radar guidance to detonate with devastating effect. The missile's progress is monitored in the launch aircraft, whose radar is a key element in acquiring the targets and guiding the missiles on the first part of their flight. The Hughes AWG-9 is an immensely powerful and sophisticated radar with the ability to detect and track 24 possible targets, select the 6 most threatening, and then individually guide missiles against these 6. The whole system relies on advanced digital computing, giving the Tomcat 300% more scanning volume and 50% greater acquisition range than contemporary fighters. The mix of airframe, radar system, and Phoenix missiles gives the Tomcat unprecedented opportunity to hack down hostile aircraft before they can launch their own attacks against the aircraft carriers forming the U.S. Navy's main striking strength. Another great advantage of the weapon system is its ability to detect and attack targets at all heights between sea level and 100,000 feet, allowing the Tomcat to tackle anything from sea-skimming attacks to cruise missiles flying a high trajectory before the terminal dive onto the target.
We have the capability to look down and shoot down most effectively with a very good probability of kill.
It goes past that because it gives you the capability to stay at high altitudes. There's only one aircraft in the world today that has that capability, and that's the F-14 with the Phoenix missile.
Yet the Tomcat is not limited to the long-range Phoenix, which can be replaced or mixed with Sparrow medium-range missiles, complemented by 4 short-range Sidewinder missiles. And for truly close engagements, there is the Vulcan cannon, capable of spewing out 20mm shells at the rate of 6,000 per minute. The impressive and substantial Tomcat is operated by a 2-man crew. In the front seat is the pilot, and in the rear seat is the RIO, or Radar Intercept Officer. He has primary responsibility for the Tomcat's active and passive electronic systems. However, despite all the systems and automation, it is important not to forget that the full potential of the aircraft can only be exploited by the efficient working of this team.
The advantage of not having to split yourself down the middle or whatever percentage you got when you're in a tactical environment.
With 2 guys working on the solution, you're going to come out with the right answer more often than you are with one. That's all there is to it. It's that simple.
It's a beautiful combination. And I know in my past experience, there's the first guy to see the other guy has a hell of an advantage.
Because of the 2 men in the airplane, we can shoot those bombers at long range, still have the short-range weapons to get in and visually engage the fighters, take care of them, and press on about our business.
With its wings extended and carrying drop tanks, the Tomcat has a range in excess of 2,000 miles, which gives a useful combat patrol endurance at 250 miles from the parent carrier. Putting a massive 20-ton aircraft like the Tomcat down on the heaving, rolling deck of even the largest carrier is a job which quickens the pulse of even the most experienced aviator. You concentrate on the meatball, or landing aid system, ready for any glide path corrections. You never watch the deck until the hook bites, and the 50-ton pull of the wire brings you to a complete halt in 2 seconds. At night or in bad weather, it's even tougher. From about 10 miles out, your approach is directed by the carrier's air traffic control center. As you get nearer, you search for the tiny patterns of light to set up your final descent. Gusts of wind can make the aircraft climb or drop. You have to make instant corrections or go around again. In the blackness, you have no points of reference. It's like driving down an endless tunnel until you suddenly hit the deck.
It's a hard landing, however, it's nothing that puts you out or anything. Big thing is to catch the wire and come in and have a slider on the ship. Slider's a cheeseburger, by the way.
Space on any carrier is limited, so a genuine dual-role aircraft is always an asset. Such a machine is the McDonnell Douglas FA-18A Hornet, which began to enter U.S. service in 1983 as a replacement for both the Phantom multi-role fighter and Corsair attack aircraft. The Hornet's basic design dates to the mid-1970s and the USAF's lightweight fighter competition won by the General Dynamics F-16. But the basic concept was then revised and enlarged to meet the Navy's air combat fighter requirement. The resulting Hornet is an immensely versatile machine, equally at home on a carrier deck or land runway. The two General Electric F-404 afterburning turbofans provide sparkling performance and range, though outright speed is sacrificed to agility, acceleration, and beautiful handling. The Hornet has excellent radar and a very advanced cockpit for single pilot operation, and can be rapidly reconfigured for pure fighter and attack roles by computer software and mission equipment changes. As a fighter, the Hornet can carry 6 Sparrow or Sidewinder air-to-air missiles, as well as its internal Vulcan 20mm cannon. As an attacker, the Hornet can lift 2 Sidewinders and 17,000 pounds of assorted ordnance on 9 hardpoints, but is generally happier with a load of about 10,000 pounds, including all types of guided bomb, plus air-to-surface and anti-ship missiles. Carrier operations are extremely demanding of all aircraft in terms of structural strength and aerodynamics, and in both fields, the Hornet is exceptional. The aerodynamics also make the Hornet a formidable dogfighter, in which role the pilot is aided by the hands-on throttle and stick control system, and the highly capable Hughes radar, which can look up and down and track 10 targets while displaying 8 of them. The Hornet is now in widespread service with the U.S. Navy and Marine Corps, with several export sales also under its belt. And continued development is adding further to the capabilities of this already formidable warplane. The Vought F-8 Crusader is now only in limited service, but flew in 1955 as the world's first genuinely supersonic air superiority fighter. Powered by a Pratt & Whitney J-57 afterburning turbojet, the single-seat Crusader entered service in 1957 and soon proved itself an excellent and versatile warplane. Seen here is the retractable in-flight refueling probe, which significantly extended the Crusader's capabilities. The initial armament was a mix of 4 20mm cannon and a pack of unguided rockets. But the Crusader's rapid development soon added Sidewinder air-to-air missiles. The aircraft also has a limited capability for air-to-surface missiles. The maximum external load is 5,000 pounds on 2 underwing hardpoints. And for the ground attack role, unguided weapons are the norm. These can include 4 1,000-pound bombs or 2 2,000-pound bombs, aimed through the standard gun sight for extremely accurate delivery in a shallow dive. As an alternative, a maximum of 24 5-inch Zuni unguided rockets can be carried in 6 launcher pods. The rockets have devastating impact against a variety of ground targets. Once the rockets have been fired, the pods can be jettisoned, so restoring the Crusader to the more agile role of air-to-air fighting. These landings show the characteristic variable incidence wing, which could be raised to provide additional lift while still allowing the pilot a clear view of the carrier deck. Crusader has been phased out of U.S. Navy service and currently serves only on board France's 2 carriers. Its current partner is the Dassault Breguet Super Etendard, which flies in the attack role. The Super Etendard's most important weapon is the Exocet missile as used by the Argentines during the Falklands conflict. The Lockheed S-3A Viking anti-submarine aircraft can undertake the tasks of considerably larger land-based platforms, yet is still small enough to be carried in useful numbers by each of the U.S. Navy's first-line aircraft carriers. Vikings operate in a screen around the carrier task force, carrying 2 flight crew and 2 tactical crew. In this sequence, a patrolling Viking is handing over to another aircraft, passing on tactical information which enables its replacement to take up position automatically over a possible target. A sonobuoy is released automatically, and its position and type put up on the tactical plot. The second Viking is now in charge of the hunt, and the sensor operator checks his display against the acoustic fingerprints of known submarine types to get a precise identification.
Maypole 25 is up and sweet.
The operators also have access to information provided by the Viking's search radar and magnetic anomaly detector. All acoustic and tactical data are routinely taped for subsequent analysis back on board the parent carrier. The data can also be fed back in real time to the carrier's Combat Information Center so that developments can be assessed and additional aircraft deployed if necessary.
Combat, we've confirmed 704's contact.
Roger, SW, thank you. Flag, GAO.
As the threats during this exercise increase, the air traffic controller takes steps to harden the carrier's defensive screen.
Admiral Flag 2.
The Viking is powered by a pair of economical General Electric TF34 turbofans and possesses excellent loiter capability. This allows the aircraft's electronic support measures system to listen for hostile emitters such as radar, whose nature and location are then fed into the evolving tactical plot.
Madman, madman.
Given this constant updating of the tactical situation, there is little chance for a hostile to remain undetected.
This time I'd like to lay a barrier down his track for a good CPA.
Possible contacts are investigated with a new barrier of sonobuoys, and the electronic net closes steadily on any target. Here, the Viking's great weapon capability comes into play. Ordnance is carried in a fuselage weapons bay and on 2 underwing hardpoints to a maximum weight of 7,000 pounds. Loads can include nuclear depth bombs, mines, or lightweight acoustic torpedoes. Patrol time can be extended by in-flight refueling from a Grumman Ka-6 Intruder, the real limitation to endurance being crew fatigue, despite the excellently designed flight deck and tactical compartment. With refueling completed, the Viking returns to its mission, relieving another aircraft, or, as in this case, investigating a suspected Soviet submarine. Using the computer-stored data banks, the crew tentatively identify the approaching intruder. Information gathered during these contact or exercises can be of great use in building up a library of information about possible threats. Finally, the task completed, or the barrier manned by another aircraft, the Viking returns home. The crew debrief and rest, and the aircraft is turned around for the next mission. To meet the threat of future submarines, Vikings are being upgraded to S-3B standard with modernized electronics and the ability to carry the Harpoon anti-ship missile.
I was looking into both the Air Force Academy and Naval Academy, and there were a couple of factors that went into my decision-making process. However, I decided that, hey, Air Force pilots, they can go out there, they do the same mission the Navy pilots do, but they come back to 10,000 feet of runway that's in the same spot that it was when he left. However, a Navy pilot launching off a carrier goes out, does his mission, has to come back and find the carrier, first of all, and then land on it, especially at night. And I said, hey, you know, I want to go with those guys because I think it's probably a little tougher and they're a little bit better. Obviously, I'm prejudiced now, but I still feel that way.
As the British discovered during the Falklands conflict, forewarned is forearmed, and Grumman's odd-looking E-2C Hawkeye is the ultimate naval force multiplier, providing a superb early warning and control system for U.S. Navy carrier groups. The two Allison turboprops and unswept flying surfaces may make the E-2C look old-fashioned, but the powerful surveillance radar with its antenna in the large rotodome over the fuselage combines with a passive radiation detector system and an advanced computer and tactical display system to enhance the effectiveness of the U.S. Navy's combat aircraft enormously. Only a few Hawkeyes are embarked on each carrier, but individual aircraft can patrol for 4 hours at a radius of 200 miles. The powerful radar searches the airspace between sea level and 100,000 feet, out to a range of 230 miles. Its advanced processing system paints a picture of land masses and picks up fighter or missile-sized targets amongst land or sea clutter. Within this 3 million cubic mile volume, the Hawkeye's active and passive systems allow the 3-man tactical crew to track between 250 and 300 surface and aerial targets and handle up to 30 intercepts.
Here, I believe I hold a bogey about 308, 142.
The Hawkeye's capabilities are not just defensive. U.S. Navy attack aircraft can be guided and warned by the E-2's electronic systems. This makes for greater accuracy in attack and reduces losses to the strike force. For U.S. service, the type is under constant development in terms of its radar, electronic support measures, and tactical control systems. Based on the Electra airliner, the Lockheed P-3 Orion is the West's most important patrol and anti-submarine aircraft. The latest Orion variant is the P-3C with a flight crew of 5 and an advanced suite of sensors and plotting equipment manned by a tactical crew of 5. Orion operates from long land runways so that it can lift off with maximum fuel and a large load of weapons.
Foxtrot 06, Roger. Cleared for takeoff. We'll report Atlantique level at 2000. Roger. Ready to go. Here we go. Roll. Horsepower normal rated. Right.
Once on station, the Orion can patrol for at least 3 hours at a radius of 1,500 miles from base. 1 or 2 engines can be shut down and the propellers feathered for extended patrol duration. The Orion carries electronic support measures equipment and search radar for surveillance of vast sea areas. But the P-3 is basically a submarine hunter, and its main electronic weapon is the combination of sonobuoy and a highly capable processing system for acoustic data. Here, the operator has identified a Soviet submarine and informs the captain.
Tackle sensor 1, I believe I...
With the pressurized. Okay, get the free-fall chute ready. We'll be putting die-par 15, die-cast 2 way on top, out of smoke.
Roger, die-par 15 and die-cast.
Roger, I got him. Tally-ho, 11:30 just left of the nose.
At the tactical coordinator's station, each sonobuoy, as well as the Orion's own movements, are tracked by a digital computer.
Roger, stand by, it's about 15.
DC class, search back. Roger, search back. Got search back.
The magnetic anomaly detector, or MAD, pinpoints the target's position. Throughout the action, the computerized tactical system handles a volume of data which would otherwise overwhelm the operators.
5 seconds.
Over long ranges, endurance is of course limited, but relays of Orions can be used for constant tracking of suspects. Ultimately, the Orion can attack with 20,000 pounds of assorted weapons tailored to specific targets. The deadly stores can include air-to-surface missiles, bombs of various types, up to 3 nuclear depth bombs, or 8 anti-submarine torpedoes. Carrying up to 6 Harpoon anti-ship missiles, the Orion can also provide a shield against surface attack. These powerful weapons have a range of more than 60 miles and enable the launch aircraft to attack from well outside the ship's air defense weapons. The P-3 is also a formidable mine layer. Up to 12,000 pounds of mines can be dropped in each sortie, enabling an Orion force to lay barriers at short notice across submarine and ship choke points. More humanitarian tasks that can be undertaken by the Orion are sea control and search and rescue. Particularly useful in this task is the forward-looking infrared sensor, which is trainable and provides long-range vision in poor weather conditions and at night.
and help should be there by tomorrow morning.
Thank you so much for your help.
The comprehensive nature of the Orion's tactical and plotting system allows it to build up a comprehensive picture of all shipping in its patrol area. The information is recorded on film and tape for more detailed analysis back at base.
Sensor 3 flight, be sure to get this on ERDS film. And TC, are you taking a look at this contact?
Roger, flight. I'll make sure intelligence sees this.
This is valuable in the program of continuous and overlapping data-linked patrols flown by the U.S. Navy's P-3s from major bases, an up-to-date picture of surface and submarine activity being passed on by each aircraft as it returns from patrol. Just as the Orion was derived from the Electra, the British aerospace Nimrod was evolved from the de Havilland Comet. The process was more complex, since it needed a revision of the design to accommodate 4 Rolls-Royce Spey turbofans. But the program produced what is arguably the world's best land-based maritime reconnaissance and anti-submarine aircraft. The Nimrod Mark I came into Royal Air Force service in 1968, and its current Mark II variant, seen here with the characteristic refueling probe, began to be introduced in 1979. In the lower fuselage is a long weapons bay. This can hold 13,500 pounds of bombs, or up to 9 Stingray or comparable anti-submarine torpedoes. There are also 2 underwing hardpoints for Sea Eagle or Harpoon anti-ship missiles, or Sidewinder self-defense missiles. The normal tactical crew is 6 or 7. As these men check their specialized mission equipment, the flight crew of 5 prepares the Nimrod for its mission.
Standby, neon on, in-phase and quad lights on, MI white.
On.
On, neon and lights, MI.
Director horizons.
Director failed flags, director indices, parked.
Right, carry out steer checks when required by staff.
Once cleared, the Nimrod taxis out and takes off. The Nimrod is at the very front of submarine hunting and killing technology, and further developments are being incorporated to keep the aircraft updated. The most important of these is the new Laurel electronic support measures equipment, which is being added in wingtip pods. The normal routine calls for a high-speed transit of between 2 to 4 hours to the area for a 5-hour patrol up to 1,500 miles from base. At the other end of the scale from the Nimrod is the trim McDonnell Douglas A-4 Skyhawk. The Skyhawk is now disappearing from carrier-borne service, but still serves usefully as a land-based light attack bomber. Often called the Bantam bomber for its size and agility, the A-4 was conceived in the early 1950s and emerged for its first flight in June 1954 at about half the 30,000-pound weight specified by the U.S. Navy. Despite its size, the A-4 has proved remarkably versatile and has been developed enormously in terms of role and payload. The type's forte is close air support with its 2 cannon and upwards of 8,250 pounds of disposable ordnance carried on 5 hardpoints. Single-seat versions are the more common, though the U.S. Marine Corps uses a 2-seat forward air control model. With its simple systems and reliable Pratt & Whitney non-afterburning turbojet, the Skyhawk makes an excellent quick reaction machine. This role is further enhanced by the ease with which ground crews can attach bombs, rocket launchers, and other weapons without special equipment. In the naval attack role, it was particularly successful in Argentine service during the Falklands conflict. The A-4 is subsonic and a good weapon delivery platform. Over the years, this latter capacity has been augmented by increasingly capable nav attack systems, including a head-up display and the Hughes angle rate bombing system. This means that simple weapons such as rockets and napalm can be delivered with devastating accuracy. In secondary theaters, the Skyhawk still has a considerable future.
Hi, my name is Lieutenant Phil Angel Angelini. I'm stationed with VF-211 on board the USS Nimitz. We'll be back with more wings.
The Vought A-7 Gorsair II was developed very rapidly during the mid-1960s to replace the A-4 Skyhawk and has matured into an exceptional medium attack bomber. The primary requirement was larger payload carried over greater range, and the Vought designers used the aerodynamics of the F-8 Crusader fighter as the starting point for the new design, which first flew in September 1965. Most current variants use the Allison TF-41 non-afterburning turbofan, and in its carrier-borne A-7E model, the Gorsair II can carry 15,000 pounds of weapons over short range or 9,500 pounds over longer ranges. Important in weapon delivery accuracy are, of course, the Gorsair's capable electronic systems. The nav attack system pioneered on the A-7E has a versatile computer to integrate the inertial and Doppler navigation, radar altimeter, and multi-mode radar systems. Targets can be engaged with one of the A-7's exceptional range of weapon types. Free-fall bombs are common, but the A-7 is well able to tackle radars with anti-radiation missiles. And tanks can be engaged with air-to-surface missiles such as the Maverick. From the late 1970s, capability has been further extended by the adoption of a forward-looking infrared sensor pod feeding an advanced head-up display to allow adverse weather attacks. Recovery to the carrier and then an arrested landing present no problems before the Gorsair taxis out of the way to be readied for another mission. That naval aircraft need have no less power and performance than their land-based counterparts was demonstrated by the British aerospace Buccaneer, which first flew in April 1958 as the Blackburn Buccaneer carrier-borne strike and reconnaissance aircraft. The current Mark II version with Rolls-Royce Spey turbofans is now operated from land bases by the Royal Air Force in the low-level anti-shipping and reconnaissance roles. The two-seat Buccaneer has advanced aerodynamics for high subsonic flight at sea level and an ingenious tail cone that splits to create a powerful air brake when landing. The airframe is immensely strong to withstand the stresses of carrier operations, especially at launch with large weapon loads, and in flight, the Buccaneer is a highly impressive machine.
Comfort 042.
Typical of its period, the Buccaneer has an internal weapons bay for 4 1,000-pound bombs, and the 4 external hardpoints can each lift 3,000 pounds of stores. The electronics are now dated, but at low level the Buccaneer still handles magnificently and is an excellent platform for modern weapons such as the Sea Eagle anti-ship missile.
Negative. Pigeons 22070. That's the enemy radar. Down you go. Okay, standard under the low descent. Fine. 045. I've got the landfall. Starboard 047. Roger. 047. Visual. Roger.
The Grumman A-6E Intruder is the world's finest carrier-borne all-weather attack bomber. As the deck crew swarm around this example, preparing it for launch, one can see the Intruder's side-by-side seating behind the radome of the multi-mode radar, almost unswept wings with 4 hardpoints, 2 low-thrust Pratt & Whitney J52 non-afterburning turbojets, and simple tail. In the air, the purposeful appearance of the A-6 becomes evident, as does the large number of bombs that can be carried. A-6 attack waves, as used during the U.S. raid on Libya in 1986, are generally accompanied by an EA-6B Prowler, the 4-seat electronic warfare version usually used to jam enemy radars. The Intruder can carry most U.S. guided weapons, but is generally seen with numerous iron bombs, of which up to 18,000 pounds can be carried. Accuracy is of a very high order, and this allows the Intruder to operate in the close air support role under ground force or forward air control. Pinpoint accuracy is normal after a straight approach, and delivery within 30 feet of the aiming point is standard after a beacon hop approach. As can be seen here, an undernose target recognition and attack multi-sensor, or tram turret, is now standard on A-6Es. Its forward-looking infrared sensor and laser rangefinder provide television-like pictures of distant targets magnified up to 13 times. This enables the A-6 to attack targets previously unidentified by radar. The cockpit is also being modernized, and the forthcoming A-6F version with General Electric F404 turbofans will see further consolidation of the Intruder's paramount position amongst naval attack bombers.
I'm NavCat Cook, BT-4, Naval Air Station, Pensacola, Florida. Wings be right back.
First flown in August 1978, the British Aerospace Sea Harrier is the naval derivative of the land-based Harrier. The aircraft was first tested at sea in the late 1970s on a specially adapted Tiger-class cruiser. Its capability for short or vertical takeoff and vertical landing is of critical importance for successful operations from Britain's new generation of small aircraft carriers. The takeoff run is started with the nozzles of the Rolls-Royce Pegasus turbofan facing aft. The nozzles are then turned down 50 degrees, and the Sea Harrier becomes airborne after a 500-foot run. The aircraft was deployed operationally with great success during the Falklands conflict of 1982, both providing the British task force with air cover and undertaking strikes against Argentine ground positions. Vertical landing is the safest and easiest method. A rolling approach is only used if the pilot has any fears that the thrust vectoring system has been damaged or is otherwise inoperable. The hangar offers a better working environment than the deck for maintenance crews, and about half the usual complement of 8 Sea Harriers can be worked on below at any one time. The small size of the aircraft is also of great importance during the movement below decks and on the lifts. Though vertical takeoffs are possible, as described, the Sea Harrier is best used with a rolling takeoff. This allows a useful warload of up to 8,000 pounds to be carried on 5 hardpoints. Among the changes made to the Sea Harrier from its land-based counterpart were the provision of Ferranti Blue Fox multi-mode radar and a revised cockpit suitable for air combat. During the Falklands conflict, Sea Harriers operating from the carriers Hermes and Invincible gained a kill superiority of 23 to none over conventional Argentine aircraft. The precision of the Sea Harrier's takeoff and landing are particularly useful during bad weather or at night. This is by far the most hazardous time for conventional aircraft during lengthy carrier operations. All 3 British Invincible-class carriers and those of the Spanish and Indian navies, which use Sea Harriers or their US AV-8B derivative, are now equipped with the so-called ski jump. Built up over the forward section of the flight deck, this adds extra momentum to the Sea Harrier's takeoff, helping the aircraft to rise well clear of the carrier as it goes from thrust support to wing-borne flight. The Blue Fox is a compact radar which gives the Sea Harrier a genuine air combat capability in addition to its attack and reconnaissance roles. For air combat, the Sea Harrier's main weapon is the Sidewinder missile, backed up by a pair of 30mm cannon mounted in pods under the fuselage. Flight and combat information are relayed to the pilot via the head-up display. The Sea Harrier, with its extraordinary capabilities, has shown the way in which naval air power can be deployed from modest-sized ships. Even in the nuclear age, recent events have shown that any country which needs to project its power far from its home waters must have the ability to provide both air defense and attack capabilities. Whether from the decks of the U.S. Navy's supercarriers or from the more modest platforms of other Western powers, the future of naval combat aircraft is assured until well into the next century.